My throat constricted as I stared at my phone screen, the family group chat blurring before my eyes. The morning sunlight streaming through my office window suddenly felt harsh, exposing. Madison has until Sunday to find somewhere else, my mother's message glowed on the display. Phoebe and her fiancé need the apartment. This works better for the family. Below that, my sister had already posted a Pinterest board titled Downtown Loft Transformation, with images of exposed brick, modern lighting, and furniture arrangements superimposed over the space where I currently lived. My space. My home. So excited. Phoebe's follow-up bubbled with enthusiasm. Mom, can we start painting this weekend? I want to get the bedroom done before Madison's stuff is even gone. My brother Robert chimed in, about time. Maddie's been hogging that place forever. She doesn't even need that much space. The family chat continued scrolling with their plans for my apartment in my building, as if I weren't even part of the conversation. As if my existence were a temporary inconvenience to be relocated at their convenience. My name is Madison, I'm 32 and a commercial real estate investor. This is the story of how I went from being invisible to my family to becoming unforgettable. I set down my coffee and pulled up my laptop, navigating to the property management portal for Northridge Holdings LLC, the company I'd established 6 years ago when I started investing in real estate. The company my family knew nothing about because they'd never asked what I did with my money, never showed interest in my career beyond vague acknowledgments that I had a job in real estate. The building at 847 Westlake Avenue appeared on screen. 12 units, mixed commercial and residential. Purchase price, $2.8 million. Current value, $4.1 million. Owner, Madison Northridge via Northridge Holdings LLC. Including the 2-bedroom corner unit on the 4th floor where I currently lived. The apartment my family thought belonged to some vague family investment they had partial control over. I pulled up the access control system and looked at the active key cards. 4 cards were registered to my apartment. Mine, Mom's emergency spare, Phoebe's just-in-case copy, and one Dad had made himself last year without asking. My fingers hovered over the keyboard as another message notification popped up. Dad, your mother and I have discussed this. Phoebe and Isaac need to start their married life somewhere affordable. You're established in your career. You can find another place easily. Established in my career. That was one way to put it. At 32, I was one of the youngest acquisitions directors at Ridgeline Commercial Real Estate with a personal portfolio of 7 properties worth a combined $12 million. But my family still saw me as the quiet middle child who'd stumbled into a decent job. Mom, we're doing you a favor. Really? Time to stop being so comfortable and push yourself. Maybe get a roommate. Learn to budget better. Budget better. I'd been financially independent since 23, putting myself through business school while working full-time, and had never asked them for $1. Meanwhile, Phoebe was 28, still on Mom and Dad's phone plan, and had her car insurance paid by the family account. The disconnect between how they saw me and who I actually was crashed over me in waves. For years, I'd kept my success private, not out of shame but because they'd never shown interest. I'd mentioned my investments casually at family dinners, talked about property management challenges during holidays, but they'd always changed the subject back to Phoebe's latest achievement or Robert's newest venture. I clicked through to the tenant management system and pulled up the lease agreement for Unit 4B, my apartment. Tenant, Madison Northridge. Landlord, Northridge Holdings LLC. Lease term, month-to-month with owner occupancy rights. Then I looked at the building's ownership history. I'd purchased it 3 years ago from a retiring landlord who wanted a quick all-cash sale. My family had been told I was house-sitting for a friend's investment property. They'd never questioned it because they'd never been interested enough to ask for details. The story had slipped out easily when Mom had asked about my new address, and the vagueness had been sufficient for people who didn't actually care about the specifics of my life. My phone rang. Mom, not waiting for a text response. Did you see my message? She asked without preamble. I did. Good. So you understand the situation. Phoebe needs that apartment and you've had it long enough. Time to share family resources. Family resources. I repeated, my voice unnaturally calm despite the pressure building in my chest. Don't take that tone. You know what I mean. The apartment was available. You moved in. But now Phoebe has priority. She's getting married. Starting a life. You're just there. Just there. Living my life. Managing my properties. Building wealth my family couldn't even conceptualize. Who owns the building, Mom? I asked, surprised by the steadiness in my voice. What? Some investment group your father knows. Why does that matter? Because I'd like to understand the authority behind this eviction notice. It's not an eviction, Madison, Mom said, her voice sharp. It's family managing family assets. Don't be dramatic. Does Dad have ownership stake in the building? I don't know the details. He handles the investments. The point is, the apartment needs to go to Phoebe. That's final. I see. And you've confirmed with the actual building owner that this is acceptable. Madison, stop being difficult. This is already decided. After hanging up, I sent a message to my property manager, Lucas. My family is attempting to evict me from Unit 4B under the mistaken impression they have authority to do so. They have unauthorized key cards that I previously provided them for emergencies. Please deactivate all cards except mine effective immediately and update building security. Lucas responded within minutes, done. Building security has been notified. Should I send formal lease violation notices to the unauthorized card holders? Not yet. Let's see how this plays out. The family group chat was heating up. Phoebe, don't make this harder than it needs to be. Mom said you're being stubborn about moving out. Robert, typical Madison, always has to make everything complicated. Dad, Madison, I'm calling the building management tomorrow to ensure a smooth transition. Please have your belongings packed by Saturday. I took a screenshot of the property deed showing Northridge Holdings LLC as the owner with my name listed as the sole member and manager. Then I took another screenshot of my tenant portal showing my lease agreement. I saved both but didn't send them. Not yet. Thursday morning, my phone erupted with calls from Dad. I was in a meeting with a client discussing a potential $8 million mixed-use development acquisition, so I let it go to voicemail. The voicemail was 2 minutes of confusion and anger. Madison, I just got off the phone with building management. They're saying I don't have authorization to discuss the property. They won't even confirm tenant information. What kind of operation are they running? Call me back immediately. I texted him, in meetings all day. We'll call tonight. By Thursday afternoon, Phoebe had apparently tried to access the building with her key card. Phoebe, my key doesn't work. Mom, something's wrong with the building security. I can't get in to start measuring for furniture. Mom, Madison, did you do something to the security system? Me, I haven't touched anything. Perhaps building management updated their protocols. Dad, this is unacceptable. I'm going down there in person to sort this out. I imagine Dad walking into the building lobby, demanding to speak to management, only to be directed to contact the corporate office of Northridge Holdings LLC. The corporate office that consisted of my attorney, my accountant, and me. When Friday morning arrived, I woke to a series of increasingly frustrated texts from Dad. The building manager says I need to contact the corporate office for authorization issues. The corporate office number goes to voicemail. Madison, what is going on? No one at this building will give me any information. I called him on my lunch break, sitting in my car to ensure privacy. Dad, I got your messages. Madison, this is ridiculous. I've been trying to get information from this building management for 2 days. No one will tell me anything. What exactly are you trying to find out? I need to confirm the transfer of occupancy for the apartment. Your mother promised Phoebe she could move in next week, and now we are running into bureaucratic nonsense. The line went silent. I could hear him processing what I was saying. You're telling me you own the building? He finally asked. Yes, Dad. I've owned it for 3 years through my company Northridge Holdings LLC. I'm the sole owner and have been since I purchased it from the previous landlord. I sent him the screenshots of the property deed and my lease agreement that I had prepared earlier. I heard the notification sound through the phone. This can't be right, he muttered. You own a $4 million building? This one and 7 others, I replied. I've mentioned my investments at family dinners for years. No one ever seemed interested enough to ask questions. Dad hung up on me. The family group chat exploded over the weekend. Phoebe, I can't believe you've been lying to us. You have millions and you let me think we were doing you a favor. Robert, this is so messed up. You've been playing poor while sitting on a fortune. Dad, we need to have a family meeting to discuss the situation properly. Mom, you owe your sister an explanation and an apology. I muted the group chat and went about my weekend. Property inspections, reviewing financial statements, meeting with my contractor about renovations on one of my other buildings. Despite muting the chat, I still received individual text messages from Mom informing me they would be stopping by Sunday evening to resolve this situation. I didn't respond but made sure I'd be home. Sunday evening, there was a knock on my apartment door. I checked the security camera feed and saw my entire family in the hallway. Mom, Dad, Phoebe, Isaac, and Robert. I opened the door but didn't invite them in. We need to talk, Dad said. About what? About how we are going to resolve this situation, Mom said. Phoebe needs somewhere to live. Phoebe needs to go apartment hunting. There are currently 3 vacant units in this building alone. She's welcome to apply for one like any other tenant. You can't be serious, Phoebe said, her eyes wide with disbelief. I'm your sister, I said calmly, which is why I'm telling you about the vacancies instead of making you find them on Zillow. But you're not getting my apartment. What about a family discount? Isaac asked, speaking for the first time. Some kind of family rate. Market rate, I said firmly. I don't give family discounts. That's how family conflicts start. Family conflicts. Mom's voice was shrill. We are already in a family conflict because you've been hiding your wealth. I haven't been hiding anything. I've been private about my finances, which is my right. You all made assumptions and I didn't correct them. That's not the same as lying. You let us think you were struggling, Phoebe accused. I never said I was struggling. You assumed that because I don't broadcast my financial situation like it's a competition. Robert spoke up. So what? You're just going to keep all this money to yourself. It's my money, Robert. I earned it, invested it, and grew it. What exactly do you think you're entitled to? We're family, he insisted. Being family doesn't create financial obligations. I don't owe you housing, money, or access to my assets. Dad tried a different approach. Madison, your mother and I are proud of what you've accomplished. We just think you should be more generous with family. I am generous with family. I host holidays. I remember birthdays. I show up when it matters. What I don't do is hand over my property because someone decides they want it. So that's it. Phoebe's eyes were full of tears. You're going to keep your precious apartment while Isaac and I struggle to find something we can afford. Phoebe, you don't struggle to afford things. Mom and Dad pay your car insurance, your phone bill, and helped with the down payment on your car. You have plenty of money. You just spend it on other things. That's your choice, but it doesn't obligate me to solve the consequences. This is so typical, Robert muttered. Madison always thinks she's better than everyone. I don't think I'm better than anyone. I just refuse to be treated like a resource for you to exploit. They left shortly after, and I knew the fallout would continue for weeks. The family group chat would remain muted. The invitations to family dinners would carry an edge of guilt and manipulation. Mom would tell relatives I was going through something and needed prayers. But Monday morning I went to work at Ridgeline, closed on the Arts District office building for $3.2 million, and added an 8th property to my portfolio. Tuesday, Lucas texted, 2 applications for vacant units. One is from a Phoebe Northridge. Should I process normally? Process normally, I replied. No special treatment either way. Phoebe's application was denied. Her debt-to-income ratio was too high and she had 2 late payments on her credit report from last year. She texted me directly, "You rejected my application?" The property management company rejected your application based on standard tenant criteria. I don't personally review applications. That's what I pay professionals to do. You could override it. I could, but I won't. Those criteria exist for a reason. I hate you. You're allowed to feel that way. 3 weeks later, Phoebe and Isaac found an apartment across town. Smaller than mine, slightly more expensive, but theirs. Mom stopped speaking to me except for holiday coordination texts. Dad occasionally sent articles about family wealth management with pointed subject lines. But I kept my apartment with its floor-to-ceiling windows, my building with its steady rental income, and my boundaries intact. They'd said, "Pack your things," not knowing I owned the building. Now they knew, and everything had changed except my lease, which remained exactly as it had always been. 3 weeks passed, and our family relationships remained strained. When the next family gathering was scheduled, I wasn't sure if I'd be welcome. But the invitation came, formal and cold, for Thanksgiving at my parents' house. As we sat around the table, the tension was palpable. Mom had seated me at the far end, away from the main conversation. Phoebe was complaining about their new apartment's noisy neighbors. "If we'd gotten Madison's apartment, we wouldn't have this problem," she said pointedly. I took a sip of wine and smiled. "You know, I have another building on the east side that will have units available next spring. Completely renovated, soundproof walls. The application process is stringent, but I'd be happy to let you know when they are listed." The table fell silent. Dad cleared his throat. "You're buying another property?" "Closing next month," I confirmed. "It'll be number 9. Mom's fork clattered against her plate. "I don't understand why you need so many buildings when your sister can barely afford rent." I met her gaze steadily. "Because I worked for them, Mom. And because they're mine." For the first time, I saw something shift in her expression, a flicker of something that might have been respect. After dinner, Dad pulled me aside. "That Arts District property you mentioned last month. Is it doing well?" 15% above projected occupancy in the first quarter, I said. He nodded, looking at me as if seeing me for the first time. "I'd like to hear more about your investment strategy sometime." "I'd like that," I said, meaning it. It wasn't forgiveness, and it wasn't a full reconciliation. But it was recognition, the beginning of them seeing me as I actually was, not as the convenient middle child they could rearrange at will. I had become visible through my refusal to be diminished, and in that visibility, I had found a power I'd always possessed but never fully claimed. I didn't need their apartment. I owned the building.